But I started getting involved in that, and within a month of working there, I had met a guy in the club who had introduced me to cocaine, who introduced me to speed, and I think MDMA, and had just, my whole life had just done a complete 180. And I literally felt, I remember at that point walking down the road some days, and I just felt like a shell of a human walking. Like it was, everything inside me was just gone, dead. And just walking, and it was, all that mattered was my outward appearance. Because I was like, I feel dead on the inside, may as well just work on everything on the outside. So I started getting addicted to like the gym and to drugs and all this other stuff, and I started working out and hammering my body, and I put all my self-worth and my identity into those sorts of things of how I looked. I became so obsessed. Like I'd always be like, how's my hair look? How's my skin look? Oh my gosh, I'm not wearing any makeup. Oh, what are they going to think about me? Like spending heaps, hundreds of dollars on my nails and like my clothes and my shoes. And it was, I'm working in the club and I'm dancing, so I'm racking up all this money every weekend, and I'm just spending it like water. And as it progressed, obviously, I ended up being cheated on by this boyfriend that introduced me to all this stuff, and my whole life just started really spiraling downhill. I started partying a lot. I started trying all these other drugs, and I became highly promiscuous because I was sort of like, no guy's ever going to hurt me again. I'm going to be the one that holds all the power and holds all the control. I'm going to be hypersexual, and everyone's going to want me, but I'm going to be the one to turn them away and be like, no, I don't need you and I don't want you. And it was actually just this manifestation of the spirit of rejection that I had held. But at this point, I had realized that I could control it. I could use it to my advantage to actually control everything and everyone around me. I was spending copious amounts of money on these bad relationships that I was in, because I was like, I don't want you to leave me, so I'm going to buy your love just enough so you feel like you need me and you want me. Didn't work, and never worked out in the end. Or I ended up with all these toxic relationships and friendships where they were just using me, really, and I was using them to some extent. I think most of it, I still had this weird sense, like belief in God. Like I remember one time my friend who I'd grown up in church with, who had also gone off the rails, she was saying to me, we were talking about it one day, and she said, I believe in God, but I don't think I believe in Jesus. And it was, when she said that, there was something in me that was like, what? Like, how do you not believe in Jesus if you believe? And I like knew there was something inside me that knew that there was wrong. What she said, it was wrong. But obviously I just ignored it. And I remember asking as well, like guys or my boyfriend at the time, and being like, do you believe in God? And seeing if they believed. And then when they would ask me, I'd be like, yeah, I believe. So I always knew that was going on, but I had sort of shut out all the spiritual stuff until one night. It was the first night I had ever tried acid. And we went to a nightclub, and like our friend was like, oh, I have acid tabs. Do you want one? I was like, okay. And we bought some acid tabs, and they were like these little, so they're like little squares of paper, and there were photos of SpongeBob on them. And so I took it, and I was like, oh, okay, sweet. And he said to put it on your tongue or under your tongue. And he's like, because, if it starts getting too wild, you can spit it out. I was like, okay, and put it under my tongue. My tongue started getting like really tingly and numb, and I started getting really happy. I remember looking up, we're in the beer garden, and looking up at all the lights and everything, and dancing around, and be like, oh my gosh, that's so great. And I was dancing around. I remember I must have looked like a Fruit Loop, honestly. Like beer gardens where everyone's sitting down chilling, and I'm just up there dancing around, twirling around. And then my friend grabs me, and I looked at her, and it was like her face was like distorted and she had obviously gone into a bad trip, because one of our other friends a couple of months earlier, I think, had been in a fatal car accident and had almost died. And so she got sent into this real bad trip, and she had to leave. I was like, oh, okay. And then she left out the side with our other friend who was on acid. And I was walking through the nightclub, and I remember coming across a girl that I had worked with, and I was like, oh, that's great. And she's like tall and slim, and she's beautiful. And we're dancing around, And I remember looking up at her. At one point I'm dancing and I look at her and she's laughing and like smiling at me, but her face, like she looked like she was all like twisted up, and her face was like this gremlin, like laughing at me. And I freaked out because I'm in the middle of this dance floor with all these people around, and I'm looking at her, and then the people that she's with turn and look at me, and they're like, everyone, I realize I'm looking around at everyone around me, and I'm like gremlins. There's literally like gremlins all around me, and I started like freaking out, and I was like, I need to get out of here. I can't do this. So I got lost trying to get out of this dance floor, and I finally got out to my friend outside. But that was one thing that I'm like, that must have been a spiritual door that was opened at that moment, because to be able to look at someone and see these demons and these things looking back at you, I'm like, that can't just be drugs. And I only realized that recently, actually. I was like, that can't just be drugs. And yeah, other times I took drugs, it was these weird moments would happen. Like we took some MDMA once, me and a friend, and I remember lying there, and it was after the buzz had sort of kicked off the next day that I turned to him and I was like, were there other people in the room? And he was like, yeah, I felt like there were 2 other people in the room with us. And I was like, yeah, like I literally, at one point I remember seeing them. Like there were 2 other people in the room with us, but it was just him and I in the room. So I'm like, I knew all the spiritual things were playing out in front of me, but I guess I was just used to just blocking them all out.
This is very important. What is behind sin? What is the force controlling sin, destroying people's lives through alcohol misuse, drug misuse, abortion, sexual immorality, cheating, that kind of thing? The Bible tells us the devil is on earth, and I think the Bible also says he knows his time is little or short, and it also says he has come to steal, kill, and destroy. So an insight into what happens behind in the spiritual realm regarding sexual misuse, alcohol misuse, drug misuse. This is very interesting. This lady might have been given an insight into the spiritual world of the demons and the devil's hand behind these kinds of things. Do not think when you are partaking in alcohol misuse, sexual misuse, or whatever, that is just a straightforward practical thing. The wicked and evil forces that are trying to lead you into the wrong friends and to do the wrong things, to destroy your life, to kill you, is something you must realize and take to heart. Flee from these sins. It is not just the alcohol or the sexual acts. There is something incredibly wicked trying to get you down this path more and more.
I just chaperoned 2 14-year-olds to a last day of school beach party, and all the schools were there. I could not believe my eyes in what I was seeing. Groups of girls just twerking, people videotaping this. Endless supply of marijuana. I have never seen so much marijuana in my freaking life. And I used to smoke marijuana. Endless supply of liquor. I mean, they were just drinking it straight. There was no chasers, nothing, no drinks. Everybody was drunk. Everybody was high. You could barely talk to them. They were so out of it. And I went up to a few groups and I tried to talk to them about Jesus, and their hearts were so hardened. And they were just talking about witchcraft, and all of them were just into witchcraft. And Crystal's parents, if you don't discipline your children, God will, and it's not going to be pretty. This generation is going down a bad road.
Is matriekvakansie op Plettenberg Baai regtig so rof soos wat dit lyk?
Ek weet nie wie ek dit my baan stel, want dit is nie hoe dit eintlik is.
Daai video het totaal gewys wat Plet is. Plet raak 2017. Weet jou ma, jy's hier. Destination Freedom. Ons kom van Joburg. Ons Londen. Van Warmata.
'n geraamde 14de Plet Ridge matriekvakansiefees ingestroom.
Ons is jou vette kuier en 'n beste tyd te hê.
Plet is die Afrikaanse plek waar Afrikaanse mense kuier. Destination's freedom.
Guys, let's just pause here and learn to detect toxic people. So here's a talk on a gentleman who's really a specialist in this. How do you detect people that are going to try and lead you like boyfriends down the drain? Or other friends that lead you into alcohol and substance abuse? Their problem is in a big way their parents, because their parents are clueless and don't teach them anything. In fact, they send them to the matric weekends and to the Plet Rage and whatever with money. And then later on they cry and say, why is my child like this? But the Bible told them, a companion of fools will be destroyed. Not might be, a companion of fools will be destroyed. Identifying the wrong people is important. Listen to what this guy says.
But the main thing that you want to develop in life is the ability to detect them before you get involved with them. Because the way toxic people have learned, they've learned strategies since they were 6 or 7 years old of how to get power. And they embroil you in dramas. They get into your emotions, right? They entangle themselves in your life. They don't come at you saying, I'm toxic, I'm a narcissist, get away from me. They know how to appear charming, they know how to be interested in you, they know how to be moderately pleasing, etc. They can even be charismatic. You get involved with them, and then it starts to come out, and it's too late because you're emotionally entangled with them. They've got their roots inside of you.
So wat 8,000 matrieks het reeds vir R2,150 betaal vir toegang tot die fees. Maar hulle begrotings vir die 7 dae se vryheidsvieringe verskil.
Ek het so 5,000 saamgebring.
A passion for God is the most attractive feature a man can possess, and actually a woman as well, obviously. There is such an unfortunate situation taking place. People are dating so many people before marriage. Dating is not a recreational activity. It is extremely serious to find the right person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with and who's going to help you raise your children. Listen to these quotes, guys. You know it's true love when they bring you closer to God, not further from God into sin. How do you know who to marry, who is a man of God? He who reads his Bible and applies it. Guys, as a young person or old person, cultivate discipline. I would far rather be in a training camp here with these disciplined achievers, people who want to build themselves up, than at party places there with people destroying themselves with sin. Look how the US Marines are trained. It seems unpleasant at first, but it brings about great results later on.
Aye, yes, sir! Sit up straight and look at me right now! Aye, sir! My name is Staff Sergeant May, and I am your senior drill instructor. I'm assisted in my duties by drill instructor Staff Sergeant Villalobos and drill instructor Staff Sergeant King. Our mission is to train each one of you to become a United States Marine. A Marine is characterized as one who possesses the highest of military virtues. He obeys orders, respects his seniors, and strives constantly to be the best at everything that he does. Discipline and spirit are the hallmarks of a Marine. Each of you can become a Marine if you develop discipline and spirit.
Now, I'm not saying go to the military, but do something with your life. Use your time, use your weekends, your after hours. Get good at something. Create a life that's amazing. Stop partaking in friends that are going nowhere, drinking, swearing, having girlfriends and boyfriends, and do something amazing. Use your talents you have to develop yourself. build yourself up and build a life that you can be proud of. Use the military disciplines that the military teaches of spirit, discipline, work ethic, integrity, sowing and reaping.
I've told you what my drill instructors and I will do. From you, we demand the following. You will give 100% of yourselves at all times. Obey all orders quickly, willingly, and without question. Be completely honest in everything that you do. A Marine never lies, cheats, or compromises. Respect the rights and properties of others. A Marine never steals. You must work hard to strengthen your body. Be proud of yourself and the uniform you wear. Above all else, never quit or give up. For we, or for you, the challenge of recruit training. The opportunity to earn the title, United States Marine.
These guys are going to go far. Look at this quote. The guy's arms off, his legs off. I inspire myself with this. Life is not hard, you're just lazy. Waking up early, working hard is not so hard, guys. We must just get used to it. No pain, no gain. Shut up and train. I love it. Unless you puke, faint, or die, keep going. Guys, don't give up on your dreams. Whatever you do, unless you puke, faint, or die, keep going. I love it. You have limited time on this earth. Get good at something. Do some stuff you can be proud of. Use your spare time, your weekends, your after hours. Stop spending time with friends that are just drinking, swearing, having boyfriends and girlfriends in their spare time, gossiping. Get friends that are inspiring, who are out in nature, who are climbing mountains, who are developing themselves in every sphere. This is so critical. I think they say every person is the product, or to a big part, of the 5 people they spend the most time with. Be very careful how you pick those 5 people.